Coach's Corner this week, we are with the head football coach of the Huntington Highlanders, head coach Billy Seals, who are coming off an impressive 22-20 victory over the defending Class AAA champs, Martinsburg Bulldogs. Coach Seals, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Let's kind of just start there. I mean, you get an impressive victory. You're up 22-7 at one point. Biggest takeaway from that game last week?
I thought our kids responded. Week one obviously didn't play real well, played an elite football program. I like the way our guys came out and responded. Dre Reese didn't have a great week one. Comes out and returns the opening kickoff down to the 18-yard line, makes a one-handed catch for the first touchdown, played really well in defense for us. So, I just like the way our kids responded to adversity the week before and responded throughout the game with another elite program in Martinsburg.
You've played stiff competition these first 2 weeks. You played Martinsburg last week. You played a team out of Tennessee in week one. Kind of early on, what were you wanting to learn about your team whenever constructing this schedule, especially playing two really powerhouse teams in both West Virginia and in Tennessee?
Well, we just think the only way to get better is play good people. Unfortunately, with the classification set up, very difficult to find games. There's probably 4 or 5 teams that are running in the same situation throughout the state. And it's just very difficult. And we just felt like, at the end of the year, if we were 7-3, 6-4, we're okay. We're going to get in the playoffs, and we're going to have an opportunity to compete for a championship. So it was obviously a great test for our program, and it just shows the way we've played from week one to week two that we still got a lot of work to do. But again, proud of our guys and the way they competed and eliminated some of the mistakes that we made week one.
Biggest lesson you learned about your team in the first 2 weeks that leading into the season you were wanting to hopefully see early on in this season?
Yeah, I think our leadership in our program. A lot of people think that your seniors are your leaders. We've had a lot of juniors step up this year and be vocal leaders. Last week on Wednesday, to be honest with you, I threw them off the field just because we were not practicing the right way. And some of our juniors and some of our seniors as well, they stayed out there and finished conditioning and things like that. So that shows that it matters to them, that they care about the program and they care about how well they perform, and they understand there's a standard with how you practice and how you play here. And, I think we got their attention on Wednesday.
When you do have such a good core group like your junior class step up and really assume the position as a leader, how optimistic, how hopeful are you then just for not only next season, but just finishing out this season with the group that you have, especially those juniors?
Yeah, I mean, it's great for our program. We don't care what grade you're in. If you're a leader, you're a leader. And I think some of those guys, Dante Newsom being one, Antonio Pascal being another, that comes off the top of my head. We have good senior leadership as well, but those two guys really were impressive last week with how they responded and how they got the team to respond to some adversity during practice. And that hopefully proves good for us over the next few years. And that's something we've always had in our program is great leadership, and I think that's going to continue to carry us hopefully for the next few years.
You mentioned the scheduling aspect of it. Let's go back to that real quick. So in Class Quad A, it's a really competitive field in the first couple of teams, first half maybe. You got Martinsburg, you all, Morgantown's came up on a lot of people. Spring Mills is already there, I should say. Wheeling Park is another team as well that can throw their name to the mix, along with some other teams as well. What are you kind of seeing in regards to this Class Quad A field this year?
Yeah, I think there's a little more parity, to be honest with you, than what there's been the last few years. And you can put GW in that mix, who's had a really great start to the season. There's probably 6 or 7 teams that legitimately have a shot of winning the thing. And it's going to depend on how each team progresses throughout the year. But I think that there is definitely parity in Quad A this year than there has been probably over the last 4 to 5 years, or 3 years. With the AAA Quad A changeover.
You talk about the progression. Let's talk about that from your all's perspective. Moving forward now, we'll talk about your Week 3 matchup here in a second, but just progression over these next couple of weeks leading into the middle half of the season. What do you really want to see from your teams in these next couple of games?
We got to continue to get better in the passing game. That's probably an area we've struggled in offensively right now, and we're relying on our offensive line a lot, who we feel like is the strength of our football team, and so our passing game's got to pick up. Tavion's going to get more comfortable at Q, the more reps he gets, and the further we get into the season, and then just continued development in our secondary as well. It's another area we were hit hard by graduation and playing a lot of guys that don't have a tremendous amount of Friday night reps. So just continue to progress there and continue to be physical in the line of scrimmage, and hopefully get healthy. We're pretty beat up right now, and guys are playing with the injuries. Mason Ramsey got hurt week 1. Got hurt Friday night, but he said, "You're not taking me out of this game." Taped it up and went on. So that's what you love to see in your program.
Going back to Tavion now, at the quarterback position, when you're assessing his play, is this something you guys are more doing on the field in real time, or is that something you assess in film and you're saying, let's do this differently, or good job with this, but let's do this a little bit better moving forward? How do you go about assessing that and allowing him to become, as you said, more comfortable being the quarterback?
I think you got to do what he feels comfortable doing. It's like last week I sent him a text. I said, "Man, what's the 5 route concepts that you feel comfortable with?" And because it ain't about what we know or what we think looks good and all that. It's about what that kid can do and what his teammates around him can do. So, we try to put them in comfortable situations, and I think with comfort becomes progression, and with progression becomes playing the way he should play. So it's just a comfort thing. The more reps he gets, the better he's going to be.
We'll go back to that offensive line. You mentioned Mason Ramsey as well, but give me a macro with that group. I know you spoke very highly of them during the preseason, but just now that you're a couple of weeks in, they're starting to get more receptive and adapt more to Tavion. What have you kind of seen collectively from that offensive line group?
Oh, it definitely carried us Friday night. It's a big physical group. Caleb Parlier played every snap Friday night on both sides of the ball. He played at center and then at defensive end for us. Aaron McPherson played probably his best game since he's been here, to be honest with you, at left guard. Tyler Avery continues to get better at right guard, and Colin Gadd played really well up front as well. So with those guys, chemistry's continued to get better. I think the chemistry with Tavion and understanding the protections and where everybody fits in and who my read is as far as getting rid of the football has gotten better. But that's obviously a part of our football team that we feel like we got to kind of ride.
Let's talk about the Spring Valley matchup, a team that you guys are very familiar with just in regards to being so close in regards geographically. This season, though, what are you kind of seeing from Spring Valley this year?
Oh, they're back to old Spring Valley. I mean, they're double wing, run trap belly, quick pitch, jet. I mean, big, physical up front, well-coached football team. Brad Dingus, one of my good friends in the profession, man. We talk all the time, and just a lot of respect for their program. I think they got a very good football team. I know they've had some injuries at the quarterback position. Miguel Kane is as good as anybody in the backfield, and defensively they're always very sound. Do a lot of things on the back end of their defense, and we know regardless of what people think, it's going to be a great football game. You can go back to 2022. We probably, talent-wise, was a lot better than they were. They executed a lot better than we did that night, and that was our only loss in the 22 season. So we know it's a great rivalry. It's a friendly rivalry, a lot of respect between both programs and coaches and players, and we expect nothing but the best from Spring Valley on Friday.
You mentioned something there that I kind of want to veer off path real quick, and you mentioned the relationship that you have with Coach Dingus. I know you've mentioned it before with some other guys whenever you and I have talked in regards to the head coaching position. Talk about the coaching fraternity in the state. It seems really strong across the state, whether it be in North Central West Virginia, in the southern portion of the state, or Eastern Panhandle, or Northern Panhandle. It's a very strong unit in regards to that coaching fraternity. Talk about that and how unique that is for you to see.
Yeah, it should be, to be honest with you. I know when I first got into coaching, probably the fraternity was probably a little tighter, to be honest with you. But as we've moved along, a lot of new coaches in our conference, but I think the core guys that have been there have built great relationships. Steve Edwards and I are good friends. Brad and I are good friends. And then Dave Walker and I have become really good friends as well over the years, just because we've played a lot. Some of the guys in the conference, Coach Kimes at Parkersburg, has been there for a little bit. John Carpenter at Capital. So, we've all had great conversations outside of game week about how do we help kids, how do we do this, how do we do that. So we all pick each other's brain, and because ultimately it's about the kid and the kid becoming the best football player they can be, and the wins and losses take care of themselves on Friday. And I got a lot of respect for all those men I mentioned.
How do you kind of see the evolution of continuing to help the student athlete grow as you go along at your time here at Huntington? How has it not only progressed, one, but two, how can you continue to see that evolving moving forward?
Yeah, I think our program has done a really nice job of getting kids an opportunity that want to play at the next level. We feel like it's our job in the off season to get guys as many looks as possible. We've had a great run of a lot of guys. I post all the time about how great our guys are doing at the next level, and there's a lot of coaches in the state that are doing it the right way. And I think that as a state, we've garnered a little more attention over the years with players, and I think some of that's attributed to obviously the players, but also I think the coaches have done a really good job of getting their kids out there and building great relationships with college coaches, which is what it's all about. If you don't have a relationship with that college coach, you can have the best player in the country, and it really don't matter because there's a trust trust aspect there. And so, we've done a great job of that. Our staff has, and obviously our kids are produced at the next level. So it speaks volume about our kids' character as well. One of
those guys, real quick, I shouldn't say kid because he's not a kid anymore. He's a professional athlete. That's Darnell Wright. Fantastic story from him. Went to Tennessee, got picked very highly in the NFL draft. Now playing for the Chicago Bears. What's that like for you? Seeing a guy like Darnell, and I know you and I have talked about how close of a relationship that you have with him. Being able to see him, kind of see the benefits get reaped per se, and him move forward in the ranks in the NFL as a coach, that must really put a big smile on your face.
Yeah, it does. It just goes to show you can be from Huntington, West Virginia, and you can do great things. I mean, you look at J.J. Roberts at Cabell Midland. You look at Wyatt Milam, Doug Nestor at Spring Valley. Those are just guys, the Steels men up at Fairmont, so Tyson Bagent. I mean, so, it's great for those young men. It's great for Darnell Wright. It's great for the city of Huntington. But, to see a young man who really didn't believe he was that good of a football player. That was the biggest thing I think that we had to instill in Darnell was confidence that he was really good. And I still think at times he may struggle with that. Obviously, he's in the NFL. He's doing some good things, but you're going to get beat every now and then in the NFL. And definitely looking forward to watching him play Monday night against the Vikings and watch his opener. And I know he's excited. So just very, very proud of that young man and what he's been able to accomplish.
Let's talk about some more personnel on your team before we close this out. But give me a guy or two that's definitely exceeded your expectations leading into the season, that leading into week 3 you're a lot more comfortable with now.
Dante Newsome at free safety. I think he's continued to progress and get better on the back half. Obviously on our back end we lost everyone last year. Dante played a little bit at strong safety, but typically you lose a guy like Sticks and Jamari Tubbs and Avante Crawford and Zaw Jackson, those guys on the back end usually take a significant drop. But Dante has done a really nice job of controlling that back half, making sure we're in our correct alignments, correct checks, and he's played really well here early. And, Caleb Parlier's as good as advertised. I mean, he's got him and Mason probably have to be the front runners for the Student Hall Award, which is the best lineman in the state. I think both those guys are dudes, and so those two guys have played really well. Max Bourne's another one, a guy that really goes under the radar, been a 3-year starter for us, but without him on our defense, we can't do all the things we do as far as alignment and stemming and changing defensive fronts. He's done a great job here early in the year.
Give me an underclassman. I know you were really high when we came over for Training Camp Confidential, and I know you just kept kind of pointing and said, underclassman, underclassman, underclassman. You're really comfortable, you're really confident with this group, but give me a guy or two that you're really optimistic just in regards to their growth and their development throughout the rest of the season.
Trayvon Okonkwo kind of, starts for us at strong safety. We felt like we need to get a little bit bigger in the backfield. Trayvon's probably 6'1", 185 pounds as a sophomore, great range, long, very physical runner. He had a heck of a Friday night for us, and he's going to continue to get better. Wants to be a great football player. I think Tyler Avery at right guard continues to get better. There's no substitute for size at 6'5", 310 pounds. He continues to play with better pad level and moving some guys off the line of scrimmage. And then, Jeremiah Lyles, who started for us last year, probably had his best game defensively Friday night against Martinsburg that he's had since he's been here. So, those guys continue to get better every week, and I think we have an opportunity to continue to progress like we want to, we'll be where we want to be. But it's a long road, and we got to be 1-0 every week, and that's our mantra there.
Two more questions, and I know you and I have talked a lot during the offseason just in regards to whether it be NIL, this transfer portal crap that's been going on. Give me your mindset now leading into the remainder of 2025. Where's your head at just in regards to not only where we're at currently as a state, but just the future outlook just for West Virginia high school athletics?
Yeah, I hope I hope we don't continue to follow the trend of college football. I don't think it's good for high school athletics. Just because it's good for college doesn't mean it's good for high school. And, the transfer portal, I've been adamant multiple times saying I don't like it. I've benefited from it, but I don't like it. I think there's something to be said about your community and playing for your community, but also I'm not going to knock a kid that decides to go somewhere else and better themselves. And we've lost more kids than anyone in the area to other schools over the years. So, it's all about the kid. There's no hard feelings when a kid leaves. You give them a hug and tell them best of luck and move on. Because we always tell them we're going to win whether you're here or not. It's kind of buy into the program. And, again, the NIL stuff is just, I thought the SSAC did a really good job of putting a lot of hamstringing the NIL a little bit, which I like. It's something we should be dealing with in high school football.
And then finally, just what's something you want to improve? I know you talked about the progression of student athletes in the state, but what's something that you want to try and improve on as a coach, and hopefully get other coaches around you to improve with high school football, especially high school athletics as well?
I think we got to get out and promote our programs and our kids, on the clinic circuit, to be honest with you. Get out and promote our programs and the great things that are happening in West Virginia with our athletes. Promote the number of guys that, for such a small state that we have playing college football, guys that we have playing in the NFL. It's when you look at statistics, it's pretty dang good compared to other states based on our numbers. So I just think we got to promote our kids, promote our program more, and then get out and speak at clinics. I know I'm having the opportunity this off season to speak at the Glazier Clinic in Cincinnati about our program, and anytime we can do that, it only helps the state of West Virginia. And obviously helps our program as well. So just get out and promote your program and the great things that are happening in high school athletics in West Virginia.
Well, Coach, good luck the rest of the season. Good luck Friday night against Spring Valley, and we look forward to seeing what you guys do down the road.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. That's the head football coach of the Huntington Highlanders, head coach Billy Seals. Be sure to follow our coverage from now until the end of the season at Laidley Field in Charleston by going to our website, wvgazettemail.com. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at GazMail Sports. That's G-A-Z Mail Sports. And be sure to follow us on Facebook at HD Media Sports.